Seattle, a jewel among the waters and mountains of the Pacific Northwest. A growing city with a rich history of innovation and imagination. The home of tech, aerospace, and retail giants, but forever retaining the spirit of wonderment, discovery, and originality. One of the most desirable places to live with a breathtaking natural beauty. We are the everyday storytellers of this great city. We are Seattle Channel, a gateway to everything Seattle. Yay! The intersection between government, culture, news, and the ever-unfolding story of the city we call home. From information to inspiration, we'll link you to award-winning content that compels, inspires, and connects people to politics and arts. You can find our content on all digital platforms and on cable.
Hi there and welcome to the show. I'm Nancy Guppy.
Hello, I'm your host, Brian Callanan.
If you're new here and want to learn more about the people, places, and culture, we'll take you on a journey of discovery and exploration you won't see anywhere else, capturing where we've been, where we are, and where we're going. And if you're looking to get more deeply involved in the issues and the policies that directly impact our city, we are the top resource for your government at work. Seattle Channel informs, engages, and inspires you to act, enriching your civic spirit. So follow your curiosity and come explore Seattle with us. Seattle Channel.
Con dinero y sin dinero, yo hago siempre lo que quiero.
The song is a traditional Mexican classic, a story of a man with money or without who follows his own law and considers himself a king.
No tengo trono ni reina.
But behind the swagger in this music, there is fear for Victor Manuel Arzate. He's a so-called dreamer whose family brought him to the U.S. as a child, undocumented, about 20 years ago.
They call us dreamers, but to be honest, for us, it can be an actual nightmare.
Arzate is one of more than 16,000 immigrants in Washington state with Deferred Action for Childhood Arrival status, or DACA. The 2012 law shields recipients from deportation if they apply for work permits every 2 years and avoid felonies or significant misdemeanors. But that shield is under assault.
On day one of my new administration, we will begin the largest deportation operation in American history. We have no choice.
President-elect Trump attempted to end DACA in his first term, but was stopped in the courts. Trump's recent statements indicate he may try to protect dreamers, but Arzate, who's dreamed about serving in the Tri-Cities as a police officer since he was a kid, sees an uncertain path ahead.
I started flying when I was 33. I got a little over 500 flights. A challenge, see if I could do it. Nobody with my disability had done it before. Very quiet, you have the wind blowing through you, real nice. You get to look down and see the earth. When I'm up flying, I'm like anyone else. There's no favoritism to the sky. So I'm just like anyone else.
Michael's disabled with cerebral palsy and no longer is able to fly himself. And they're going to launch off in this Project Airtime special trike cart.
So this will be my first flight in over 10 years. I'm just a little nervous. It's all right. It will pass. Once I'm in the sky, it will be fine.
It's from the west. It's coming across If it's coming from the side, it can kind of create a turn, or the wing might not inflate symmetrically. You have to kind of weigh the risks.
Hurry up and wait.
If you try and send it on a bad day, you might end up in the trees.
Just gonna wait for our moment. We can pick our cycles when the wind's coming in the right direction, and that's when we launch.
Excited?
Yeah. What can happen? I'm already disabled.
I'm gonna go a little bit harder. See you. There we go. Woo!
I just like the quietness and the serenity of it. It's very peaceful.
That panoramic view of everything 3D from space above and down below and right and left, it's a view that a person normally doesn't have. It's a feeling of elation.
Thanks so much for coming to the Lakeview Cemetery Walk. We are focusing a bit on some of the lesser known and undersung residents. There's a lot of famous folks here, Denny's, the Yesslers, but we wanted to also talk about some history that people may not be as familiar with. So Japanese American history, Black pioneers, early madams and sex workers. So yeah, just give a little bit more of hopefully diversity in like a colorful picture.
Matsuhiro Tsukono started the first Japanese-owned bank in Seattle. He helped construct the Nippon Con Theater, which is still there.
William Gross, a Black pioneer in Seattle and the second Black resident of the city. This is the gravesite of Princess Angeline. She was the eldest daughter of Chief Seattle, and her name in Lachute seed was Kikosomlo. And Kikosomlo herself was living in a shack-like structure in an area known as Shantytown that's on the downward slope of what is now Pike Place Market. And growing up in Seattle, some of y'all may have heard, tales about Princess Angeline haunting the market. It's a very unique cemetery in that it's the oldest undisturbed burial ground in Seattle. And there's some spooky history here too.
Thanks, Hugh, for coming here. This is a very difficult day to describe what's recently occurred. Logistically, I'll say a few words, and then I would ask that Chief Rohrer say a few words, along with Chief Barden, on some specifics of the incident. Would ask that Bishop Witherspoon, who has a relationship with the family affected, a direct relationship through, I believe, his son. I've just got off the phone with the principal at Garfield High School, who's at a district meeting, who may try to attend. But most importantly as well, I have community leaders and sort of the community heart here who are doing the kind of work to prevent these kinds of tragedies. Let me say a few words about what the bottom line is. The bottom line is we have too many guns on our streets. Bottom line is it's too easy to get access to a gun. This message may seem repetitive, but it is the absolute truth in our country, in our state, and indeed in our city.
Part of the stuff I'm doing right now is based around the fentanyl crisis and downtown culture. It's something I see a lot. I spend a lot of time downtown, and it's something that just has kind of taken over the city. And I mean, part of the reason I know what withdrawals are like is I was on morphine for 10 years after my accident, and trying to come off the morphine was extremely hard. And so I kind of have a small inkling of what withdrawals are like. I know they're a lot worse when you're on heroin or if you're on fentanyl than what I had, but it's even with the small amounts of morphine I was coming off of was really a struggle. So these are the foils that people have smoked fentanyl off of. You can see the little lines that the blue pills make as they slide across the foil when they're smoking them. Each of these will eventually have a pinning on them. I'm painting skulls on the foils because people are dying from the fentanyl. And I'm trying to quantify it. People hear numbers. They hear 200 people died downtown this year about. And that doesn't really tell you anything, just a number that you hear. When you actually see 200 skulls, you can start to like understand how many people that is to die in like, you know, basically like one neighborhood. I don't really have a point I'm trying to make because I don't know the answer. I'm making art just based on what I see and what I think is interesting. I hope this creates some kind of conversation. There has to be like compassion. You have to like look at these people's point of views and like understand that these people are suffering. They might not have had a nice upbringing, you know. You have to have compassion for people that are living on the streets for sure. It's like a rough life, especially going into the winter times. This is like a moment in time, and I'm trying to kind of solidify moments in time with my art. And I'm just trying to like talk about something in a visual way and hopefully have people have some empathy for these people that live on the streets. People just like want them to go away. People just want them to, a lot of people just want them to die. They want them to be in jail. They don't want them to exist. For the most part, I'd rather hang out with people on the streets. I'd rather have an interesting conversation with them than like drink a beer in a beer hall and play ping pong, you know.
This entire episode of City Stream will explore different aspects of this clinic. Services include dental fillings and extractions, eye exams and prescription glasses, also mammograms, x-rays, immunizations, ultrasounds, and much more. Some of it will happen here at McCaw Hall, and all services are free. Plus, the clinic is open to everyone, regardless of insurance, income, or immigration status. Producer Randy Eng has a preview.
It is 4:25 a.m.
Greetings. Welcome.
Thank you.
We're glad you're here.
Okay, we're about to start handing out tickets, so please get in your seats.
Dental, very expensive. I did it last year. I didn't finish everything, so it's free here. For the medical?
Free dental is my number one reason. Even if with insurance, dental is very expensive. And I have a tooth that might need to be pulled or extracted, and so this will get it taken care of.
Even though I need vision, I'm just going to wait to see how much it is with my Medicare.
Good morning.
We have a 5 a.m. check-in time for the first shifts of volunteers that include both general support and a lot of nurses. And it's really about getting the first part of the process staffed. So down there, patient intake nurses will start getting trained. Up here at patient registration, they'll start training them on the patient registration system.
Designing and making shoes is something I've been interested in nearly my entire life. When I was in high school, I would go to the Goodwill and buy shoes and modify them. I would paint them or sand them or try to make them look super punk, and I would sell them to my friends.
I knew she would do something artistically, but I never imagined the shoemaking part.
I am a bespoke handmade shoe maker, and I'm sort of like a tailor for the feet. I measure your foot and I modify the last, which is the form the shoe is built on, to replicate the foot. The bespoke shoemaking process is a 220-step process. It's centuries old. I love all of those steps except for the sewing. I'll cut it down after you sew it. The sewing is my least favorite part.
Me, I just come here and sew the shoes.
I just knew that there's somebody out there that could do a better job sewing than me, and it was probably my mom.
Leanne cuts them out, dyes them, puts them together. I sit at the machine, sew, and make sure she stays on track.
Riders, get ready. It's time for the main event.
The world of BMX racing moves fast. And the high-flying action is intense.
Alan making a move. Ben, Gavin, and Oscar.
But it wasn't long ago that most of these racers at this bike track in SeaTac weren't fighting to the finish.
Scooter aired it out.
They were having trouble just getting started.
Lift up, try and get him to pedal.
Brent Azis wants to help every kid ride a bike. After an experience with his own children 4 years ago, that may sound familiar.
When COVID happened, March of 2020, it was like, time out, you guys need to get outside. I can't let you just sit inside and play video games all day. You're already gonna be in front of the screen for school. I can't let you do it.
Brent's kids got involved in BMX competitions just months after they learned how to ride. But as Brent was setting up a racing team for his then grade school-aged children, he learned something along the way.
Getting out on a bicycle helps with your mental state. It's rare to ever see a kid on a bike not happy.
It's August 1st, and we're in a backyard in West Seattle, and we're attempting to put ID bands on some recently fledged juvenile Cooper's hawks. Got 2 so far. The can keeps her calm and keeps her under control.
All right, we've got 1, 1, 3, 4.
The bands allow us to track how far they migrate or disperse and how long they live. So this bird has perfect plumage. There's no fault bars or signs of stress or hunger strike. She's in perfect condition. She'll wear these white tips off in a couple of weeks. Last year we had 66 nesting attempts, 55 were successful, and 200 fledglings. As we followed the population of Cooper's hawks, it's essentially tripled in the last 13 years. So they're thriving right now. Cooper's hawks know just when you're going to look away for just a second. And you take your eye off them and poof, they're gone without a trace.
Grindline comes from a zine in Phoenix from this artist Gavin Troy, who made a zine, skate zine called Grindline. So one day Monk saw the zine and he's like talking like he does and sees the zine, says, Grindline, what's this? I'm like, that's my buddy's, skate zine. He's like, that's the name of our company, Grindline Skate Parks. When we started Grindline, I was working for Vans, building skate parks and shopping malls. I was buddies with Monk, and he always would tell me about how we're going to be building parks and stuff, and I didn't really believe him because there was no skate parks being built at the time. One day I got a call, and he's like, I got it! I got our first park!
Orcas Island was the first skate park Grindline did with an actual contract and as a corporation, Grindline Skate Parks Inc. He did it with the famous ski photographer Warren Miller, who spearheaded the project, was the community leader for that. And the Orcas Skate Park is still one of the greatest skate parks there is in the modern day skateboarding world, and people come from all over the world to still skate it.
It never really occurred to us that this was going to be our thing. It just was kind of something that we did to have a place to skate. We knew maybe not right away, but eventually this skate park thing was going to blow up because people were really digging what we were doing.
So Mark was one of a kind, definitely. He was really driven, had tons of foresight and vision of what he wanted, and he was able to manifest it for sure.
Mark was mischievous, a leader, always acted like he knew what he was doing no matter what, even when he didn't. I knew him pretty well. I can still remember the last day I saw him.
In 2018, Mark tragically passed away unexpectedly. It was definitely a devastating blow to the company.
All of us never recovered from it, and it just actually, made us all work harder and just realize, let's make sure that we're fulfilling Mark's dreams, because he brought us all together.
It's nothing like skating something that you built. You got to be able to learn how to fail. If you're afraid to fail, then you'll never try anything. People are trying stuff all over the place, so they have these DIY spots, and we're all inspired by each other, and I'm inspired by people that are inspired.
I wanted to switch gears a little bit and talk to people about how you can tell if a message or a video is a deep fake. Is it AI generated? We're going to play a little game here that your compatriots at the UW put together, and I'll try to make the guesses here as best I can. We'll show people at home what we're looking at here. So the idea is you got to click on the face that is real. And I've been looking through these, and these are kind of tough. I know these are difficult for everybody. I'm going to hazard a guess. Person on the left, can we click on that? Oh, incorrect. The person on the right is the real one. Doggone. All right, I'm going to try playing again. All right. I think I got this. So looking at this guy on the left, he's got that little glint above his glasses there that seems to be a tell for me. So I'm going to say the person on the right is real. Did I get this right? Yes. Okay. That's one. Maybe one more. Just and I'll have you guys throw out a guess here. Any thoughts on this one? Boy, it's difficult to tell sometimes, isn't it?
This is very difficult.
Look, at the ears and the teeth are usually a giveaway.
Are
but
good
we can't,
tells.
in one case, we can't see the ears and the teeth, and it's harder.
The teeth look a little almost too perfect on the left here. I'm going to say the person on the right is real. Am I close? Did I get it? Ah, doggone it. I guess I wanted to play that game with you because it's difficult, and I think the technology is changing. You were mentioning that some of the technology that your UW colleagues were using has been updated since. I mean, what's that like to try to keep up with all this technology?
Well, it's almost an arms race between the technologies that are building the generative AI and the technologies that can help detect it.
A major public works project featuring a nearly 3-mile-long tunnel that will reduce rain and sewage runoff during torrential storms. Lake Union, Ship Canal, and Salmon Bay will all benefit, but the biggest gains will come here in Puget Sound, where a lot of polluted water runs off. Producers Randy Ng and Pete Kassem explain.
We're swimming in the water, we're paddleboarding on the water, we're boating on the water, and coming in contact with the water, it's important for it to be healthy. But there are times where, like in a heavy rain event, it's too much water to handle. And so when that happens, it ends up overflowing into the Ship Canal. Almost half of the amount of combined sewer overflows that enter our local waterways in all of Seattle are occurring in the Ship Canal.
"5140 Ballard Avenue Northwest first opened for business in 1904 as the Owl Saloon, a favorite watering hole for loggers, fishermen, and Scandinavians.
Skål. Skål.
When Prohibition hit in 1920, the Owl Saloon became the Owl Cafe. When Prohibition got the boot, the Owl Cafe became a tavern once more, and customers again bellied up legally to the well-worn wooden bar. In the 1970s and 80s, the Owl was a rock and blues joint, featuring top talent from the Pacific Northwest. And when the owners called it quits in the early 90s, a young Irishman took the reins and renamed it Connor Byrne Pub.
I'm a sucker, a fool for
fish. The most salmon you're going to see are going to be chum. They're also called dog salmon because of their very prominent teeth.
That is her testing to see if that's a good spot for a red. Oh yeah, there we go, perfect.
This is part of our Salmon Stewards program.
Oh, that one's got a big, hook in the side there.
With Parks and Rec and Seattle Public Utilities.
Seems to be a lot of them this year. Love nature. I love sharing that with people. And this is like one of those rare opportunities where people come out and something is happening that's pulling them away from their screens and their jobs.
Interesting to see kind of up close and personal, like what this life cycle looks like.
They're actually seeing life in action, and I really like engaging with people when they're in that mode because it gives me an opportunity to sort of share that joy and that love with them.
To have a place like Rough and Tumble here in Seattle, it's like nothing I've ever experienced, where they just, they prioritize women and queer women at that. It's very empowering, very, inspiring for younger kids that want to play sports and look up to, women who are athletes, and it's very motivating. Just to have that here is incredible.
I think Seattle is one of the cities that has one of the better communities, that is certainly the most welcoming and feeding of the queer community, and I think that Rough and Tumble certainly is just innately part of that.
If you would have asked me, hey, do you like sports bars? My immediate answer is absolutely not. No way, that doesn't sound like my kind of vibe. But when it's women's sports, there's a bunch of female and women identifying folks there. It just feels like a really positive, fun experience. Yeah, after this, I'm kind of like, maybe I should follow the WNBA. Maybe we should go to a basketball game or something.
It is a very diverse crowd. It's, you'll have newborns in strollers, you'll have grandmothers, you'll have, pre-Title IX women who come in crying because they cannot have ever imagined that a place like this would exist when they were growing up. This is a really cool environment, and it is just a microcosm of what women's sports fans already are.
After visiting the area, I noticed that there was a lot of healing that needed to happen. So I thought of a prayer paddle. It's like a design that shows thank you and prayer. I think when you pray for people, it's not necessarily for an outcome. It's for them to find the strength so they can find clarity. We call it the Red Road. The Red Road is about finding yourself to better yourself. And really that's what this work is about. The designs are Coast Salish or Coast Salish. Seattle should have more Salish influence. We don't have any welcome figures, we don't have any story poles, house posts. Alaskan art, which a lot of people are familiar with in Washington, is like the totem poles and the form line. Really, when that totem pole gets put in the ground, then it says that this is their territory. And it basically negates our people that are here, Muckleshoot, Tulalip, Suquamish, Swinomish, all these people that are still here, and we still don't have our own mark. And that is something that I'm hoping this does, is helps to bring back our mark.